This is the LowcoSports Lowdown podcast. Here are your hosts, Justin Jarrett and Wes Kerr.
Man, I was just a hair late. You got a little glimpse of us there. But welcome to the LowcoSports Lowdown. Justin Jarrett, Wes Kerr, and Max Arraj along for the ride tonight. Just kind of a weird night, and the show will kind of reflect that, I think, because not a lot got played. We'll dig, we'll kind of freewheel around the things that did get in, and set the stage for what comes next. Because at this point, everything is about what comes next. If it's either the end or it's about what comes next. So, but some teams did get them in, and there were some big games, and there were some big wins. And Max is smiling because Hilton Head Christian Academy got up off the canvas, landed a flurry of blows yesterday at Williamsburg Academy, and the knockout blow today, 14-1, up at Orangeburg Prep. Wow. And the Eagles are on to the state championship series. Yeah, they're going to the championship series.
Let's go.
But we don't know who they'll play yet because Hilton Prep did not get theirs in. They were rained out. They'll play tomorrow night at Porter Gaud. As far as I know, it's at Porter Gaud still. And we'll wait to see who will face the Eagles in the finals, either Hilton Prep or PD. But we do have via DJ Styles, who couldn't join us tonight because he's in the middle of nowhere en route from Orangeburg to Augusta. We do have the final out for Hilton Head Christian Academy. Can't see a lot there because the lights are rough, so low.
Yeah.
Wow. But as you can see, we've got water bottle spraying, and we'll see if we dogpile or if we're avoiding injury. I love a dog pile. I love a dog pile, but I wouldn't in this situation. Not worth it. Like if you win like a state championship and you're going on to the World Series or something, like it's like a month later, like a dog pile's cool. But if you got to run it back next week for the state title, I'm not risking a dog pile.
Yeah, it's the same thing like when you win the half the bracket to the final of the College World Series. You want to celebrate, but you have still work to be done coming up next week. And how does the series schedule work in terms of, because I couldn't find anything about like where the games are played, like where game 1 and 2, game 3 will be played.
I got it. I got it for you. I do have it for you. So how it goes is the upper state would get the advantage. So Hilton Head Christian Academy would have the home advantage. Basically, they'd have game 1.
Well, they only game 3 would be neutral, right?
Yeah,
I believe so.
So would they play? Would they have game 3? Yeah, game 3 would be neutral.
Game 3 is always neutral.
I guess
so it's not really an advantage. It's just they get the first game at home.
If it's Prep and if it ends up being Prep and Hilton Head Christian, I'm intrigued if it goes to game 3 where they would play that game.
Right.
You would hope it's
game 3
somewhere in the area. I would guess it would be. It wouldn't surprise me. Potentially, maybe Bluffton High School could be an option. Also,
or
Hilton Head High School could also be an option. So, for PD Academy, that could be a bit different. You could potentially again be looking at possibly Porter Gaud for that neutral site game.
Hey, maybe he'll be maybe he'll be at Richard Gray Sports Complex. You never know.
Well, it could be.
I mean, it could. I would think one of the public high schools would be, or JP2 if they wanted to keep it in the Skiza family, but that doesn't have lights, so that's not ideal.
And it also doesn't have enough seating for that state championship game either.
Or parking. Oh my goodness, can you imagine? That would be horrendous.
It's bad enough they're parking, and I'm sure they're eventually going to get better with the parking and stuff like that. But
they've got. I think they're, as soon as school is over, they're about to start moving on, making all of that parking lot over there. They're paving all of that because there's an access road that's going to come in that'll run all the way along there, all the way up to the next entry point, and then they're going to pave all of that where people are just parking in dirt right now,
They've also
alongside
been,
the soccer and baseball fields.
Yeah.
They're going to pave all of that,
They've
and they've
also
got
worked
other
on that.
more parking coming where that practice field is. So they've got a lot of stuff coming in.
They're also working on that baseball field too. I think the next thing they're going to add is lights. They just put in a scoreboard towards the end of the season, and it's a very nice scoreboard. So I'm glad that they've finally got a scoreboard up there. But I think the next thing they're doing is adding lights to what is a really nice field too out at JP2.
It is. The surface is really good.
I'm happy. They deserve to have a really nice field. I mean, they've played at Richard Gray Sports Complex for a really long time, but I'm happy that they could get a field on their own campus, and and it's a really beautiful field. So, but yeah, I would expect
Richard Jennings.
Yeah, I would expect that neutral site game, if it's Prep and Hilton Head Christian, I would expect that neutral site game to be at one of either. I would assume it's a local high school, because they're not going to have them both drive all the way out to Hardyville. As much as I hate saying that, I don't think they would drive all the way out to Hardyville for that neutral site game. So
I don't think that would happen either. I think we're looking at likely Bluff Center, but we're not there yet. Anyway, Hilton Head Prep's got to get it done tomorrow. Although I like how they're set up pitching wise. The extra day might actually help. Extra day might help.
Yeah, I think it will. Yeah.
PD. I don't know if they have anybody that they get back. I'd have to do some deep diving to figure out if it impacted anything for either side.
Yeah. Well,
but Prep's got Perky and Stanyard ready to go, so I like that combo a lot. But no, going back to the Hilton Christian game tonight, we talked about Hayden Brooks coming back after a rough outing against these guys last time. He was outstanding today, went 4 1/3, 3 hits, 1 run, 5 strikeouts, 2 walks, got the job done. Cody Bratt continues to swing a red hot bat. He was 2 for 4 with the homer and 2 RBIs, and Roman Colella also on fire, 3 for 4 with 4 RBIs tonight. So the bats have awakened for Hilton Head Christian after a couple of games where they're kind of stagnant. Really after that rain out against Florence Christian, they were kind of scuffling. They only had 2 runs in the 5th inning, and then they came back out and hit 2 bombs, and just the floodgates opened the last 2 days.
Yeah, for sure. I think that rain out could have been like the best possible thing for them, kind of get their minds right, get them ready to go. When that rain out ends, come back, play like the team they've played all season long. They've been a dominant force all season long, and they've beaten some of the top schools in South Carolina and have gone toe to toe with some of the top schools in South Carolina, including James Island. So we knew this team was really good, but they just couldn't find their offense through those games against Williamsburg and Florence Christian. And then, they come back after the rainout and they started playing like they did, during the regular season. And I think they're now finding their groove at the right time. And so going into the state championship series, I have a lot more confidence than I did before.
And we saw the makings of a solid effort when you look back at that first game against Williamsburg. We just couldn't put it all together. But
right. They were a couple timely hits away from winning that one. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
absolutely. It did seem like one of those nights where it was a Murphy's Law thing, and they got caught a little flat-footed, and then they just were fighting uphill all night and didn't get the breaks they needed to get back in that game. But this is, as we mentioned, this is not the first time that they've shown some resolve after a tough loss, kind of a demoralizing loss in a way, and come back and played their best ball on the heels of that. And that's the mark of a quality squad, a team that is resilient and understands that the last one's behind you and the next one matters, and get back to work and trust the process and all those things that are cliches for a reason. So they're going on to the state championship series where I think the expectation going into the season was that they would be there, and they're going to be there, and they're hopefully going to face Hilton Prep. We'll find out tomorrow. But elsewhere, Baseball Diamond, Patrick Henry was rained out. They were postponed to tomorrow at the farm. against Calhoun in the deciding game of their series. And Waccamaw beat Beaufort 8-5. Haven't looked up any stats on that yet, but Beaufort loses their first game in the 3A lower state bracket, and I'll try to figure out who they're going to play next. But yeah, you guys got any stats on that one, on the baseball game?
I do. Hold on one second. Let me get it loaded up here.
Meanwhile, I am receiving, as we speak, video clips from Wes from a domination by Hilton Head Prep girls soccer in a game that I thought there was no chance they would get in. I mean, we had torrential rains this afternoon. We saw a game.
And that field is not the best with drainage systems.
Well, yeah, we saw a game earlier this year against May River get rained out, and they went splashing around in the puddles. And I felt like we got way more rain that day. But
that field floods real easily. I've seen it happen before. I remember after Hurricane Matthew, we went over.
Swamp.
I remember after Hurricane Matthew, me and a couple friends went over to prep to make sure everything was okay and stuff like that. And that field was like 3 feet underwater still.
Yeah.
I mean, it floods easily.
But it sounds like Spartanburg Christian, like they were already here and they didn't really want to go home and come back today. And now we understand why, because prep put it on them 10-0.
Yeah, I mean that's a 4.5 hour drive from the south end of Hilton Head to Spartanburg. So you really don't want to drive back home and then come back the next day. That's a lot of driving.
About as far as you can go and stay in South Carolina. Maybe like Rock Hill to Hilton Head, but that's about as long a trip as it gets.
Skiza wise, that's about as long of a drive as you could probably get. So
I definitely didn't want to drive home and back for 10-0. But Wes, what it looked like? How was the field playable? Like,
yeah, it was a little bit of a mess,
sloppy.
But yeah, just a lot of puddles, and it definitely affected things. Like you had a couple of wet surfaces on the field, so you had some balls just die down. It kind of influenced the game, but I mean, there's no doubt the better team was. I don't care if it was rain or not. Hilton Head Prep was going to blow them out, and as you said, absolute domination, scoring 10 goals, and usual suspects showing up. Avery or Ashley Brothers. I'm confusing those two, but and then Caladonda, just some spectacular plays, not just her goal scoring, but passing, awareness on the field. I mean, just impressive what she's been able to do out there. And that's someone who has taken this team to a whole nother level this year. I mean, it's just incredible what she's been able to do with her playmaking and just the way she shows herself out there. It's really fun to watch her out in the field, and she just helps everybody else grow along with her. So, I haven't heard a definitive site for that championship game, by the way. Last I heard was Cardinal Newman, but I'm not sure. What happened with
So I would think there's a chance that they play it locally because JP2 boys did not make it through. So also BA boys did not make it through. So I think there's a chance that one gets played locally as well. And perhaps we can get an answer to that while we're on the air tonight. I'll effort an answer to that. But I now do have your highlights from tonight, so we can check those out. And we are doing the thing on the fly tonight, baby. Editing highlights in the background while hosting and producing. It looks a little squishy, but way better than I would have expected.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't think we got quite as much rain as was anticipated. I think it kind of fizzled out a little more than it looked like it was going to. We got a really good, really heavy squall came through around like 3 o'clock, but then it kind of lightened up a little bit earlier than.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I got drenched trying to come home from work, man.
What time was that?
That was about 3 o'clock, 3:30.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. About in the 3 o'clock hour, it was rough, but it really looked like that was gonna extend to like the 6 o'clock hour, and it didn't really.
I hate trying to drive through weather like that. It's the worst.
Bro, when we moved here, I drove the U-Haul through downtown Atlanta in a hurricane, and I was sure that was the end for me. I wasn't ever going to make it to South Carolina. Just me and all my belongings were just going to die here on this interstate in downtown Atlanta in a hurricane.
Oh, man.
It was awful. My cat was freaking out in the carrier. It was terrible. But you know what? We persevered. We got here the next day. We got out of the U-Haul on July 11th and at 1 p.m. and said, "Oh my God, what have we done?"
Yeah.
It was so hot and stifling. And we never left. We made it home. We loved it.
Yeah. Congrats to Prep. That's a really good girls team. So, they deserve to make it to the state championship. And I can't wait for, that state championship game. It's going to be real exciting.
Absolutely.
Yeah, great. Absolutely. Lowco, just like local teams in general, skis and soccer. As I mentioned yesterday or the day before, I mean, really cool because we have a ton of quality teams and great programs that have persevered through a lot. I mean, look at that JP2 guys. I mean, obviously it doesn't take the next step, but still a really solid year for them. And then, I mean, BA, those soccer programs have had a great history. Like Prep, both the girls, but the guys, improving. So a lot of work to be done over there, but good to see them get some wins, at least that one big win. But that girls team, I mean, just incredible. All the youth that they have and the feeder programs and just all the talent that comes their way. Pretty special to see. And then Hilton Christian Academy, although kind of a tough year for those girls and the guys, there's still a chance. I mean, there's some teams that you didn't expect to be here that made it, which is always fun, like Christian Academy boys, HHEA girls. I don't know. I feel like
Academy boys went down tonight, though.
Oh, they did. Oh,
down tonight. Yeah, I haven't seen a final, but they did tweet that they lost to First Baptist. And Pinewood Prep beat JP2 3-1. So it'll be First Baptist, Pinewood Prep. Lowco shut out of that one. Christian Academy Myrtle Beach beat BA 3-0. So BA is out of that one, which opens up the possibility for the BA Holy Trinity game to be local. And then the other one, Patrick Henry game, was postponed to tomorrow at the Kings Academy.
So that's Well, if you want, I do have the stats for the Beaufort
Yes, I would love to hear those.
So
we went off on an entire sport tangent since I asked you for those.
Well, unfortunately, wasn't the best of nights for Malcolm Webb. 4 innings, 7 hits, 8 runs, 3 earned runs, 1 strikeout, and 2 walks. Not
how many earned runs?
3 earned runs, but 8 runs total.
So 5 unearned runs. So there were a lot of errors involved.
Beaufort had 4 errors in the game. We've seen him play like that before, where they just can't figure out how to stop doing those errors and stuff like that. But throughout the playoffs up till now, I mean, they've pretty much been error-free for most of their games. So, we know Waccamaw is probably a really good baseball program. So, we expected it to be a close game between the two. And it really was. I mean, despite, the errors and everything, it was only a 3-run game. Beaufort scored their 5 runs in the 4th, 5th, and 6th, trying to go towards the 7th and potentially tying the game up. Just couldn't get the job done. Womack came in to finish out. He pitched 2 innings. He had a much better night. 2 innings, no hits, no runs, no earned runs, 1 strikeout, and 1 walk. That's a really good way to back up Malcolm Webb, who struggled a little bit.
It's important too. It's important for one guy to be able to come in and finish it off and not have to burn anybody else. And he's usually super efficient too, pitches to contact. So he was probably low on pitch count.
Yeah, the offensive side of things, I think the highlight player for the offensive side tonight was Camacho. He was 3 for 3 with 2 RBIs tonight. So good night for him. But this is only their first loss, which is
right.
I wouldn't say surprising, but it's we didn't know how deep this team could go in the playoffs, and they've gotten much farther and much more, prominently farther than I expected them to go.
Oh yeah,
before getting
yeah.
their
They're
first
playing with
loss.
house money at this point, no question.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, hey, it was a good game for them. Despite the errors and stuff like that, you only lost by 3 runs. So take those errors
Yeah,
away.
they're not.
And
There's no moral. There's no moral victories in the playoffs, buddy.
Yeah.
So they will get
No more
Camden next.
playoffs. Speaking of no more victories in the playoffs, Canes just dropped another one in overtime. So,
Rangers.
There's an example right there.
Hanahan beat Camden 4-3.
Okay.
So we will not be treated to Beaufort Hanahan just yet, but it's still a potential.
On the table.
If Beaufort beats Camden, and Hanahan loses to Waccamaw, then we'll get it on whatever day that is. So we're getting Saturday. Saturday they'll play Camden. They'll have to go to Camden, and then they would go to the loser of Hanahan Waccamaw. If they win on Saturday, they'd go there on Monday. So every other day from here on out.
Tomorrow, though, I mean, the good news about this is that we were thinking that we had originally nothing on the schedule for tomorrow.
We had an empty schedule tomorrow, but now we got a good one.
Now, I might be able to get to the farm tomorrow, or
they will be so happy to hear that. I think you should do it.
Hey, they want me to be there. They requested me to come over.
They requested your presence. You will be treated like a king, sir.
I think that's the move.
I wonder what I would be treated like if I decided to,
You would also be treated well. You would be like a duke or something by association.
I strongly thought about driving out to the farm tomorrow. I was thinking about doing it tonight.
I think y'all should I'll be at Shipyard, but I think y'all should road trip to the farm for sure.
Yeah.
I'll pay your gas. I'll drop you a little money for gas. I got to go to Shipyard tomorrow night at 8, but I'll drop you guys a little money for gas. We'll send you out to the farm.
Yes, sir. I'm down with that.
Let's do it.
I'm
100%. I imagine there's some folks that'd kick in a little for some Lester's barbecue or something too, but we'll see what transpires. How about that?
Do the Loco Lowdown live from Lester's and Charleston, South Carolina.
If you can get enough signal, we can set something up on StreamYard.
I'm not sure I'll get the cell service over there. It'd be nice.
That's the question.
Yeah.
Kind of in the sticks.
You never know. You never know down there.
That's why I like it there. I like it in the sticks.
Nice.
Grew up in the sticks.
Yeah.
Grew up in the sticks. Reminds me of home. But that's about it. So I guess we should talk about some sponsors. MVP sponsors make this all possible. Starts with my wife, Megan Jarrett. She gives me the green light, and she's the official realtor of LowcoSports. She's with Keller Williams of the Lowcountry. She'd love to help you find your place in the Lowco, so you can or upgrade to a bigger, better place in the Lowco. It's a great time to get into the real estate market, and she'd love to help you. Megan Jarrett, the official realtor of LowcoSports. Homegrown Home Inspections is our official home inspector. Jan Lucas and his team are the best in the biz, and they'll make sure that you're making a great investment in the real estate market. If you're building a new home, you got to have that phased inspection where Homegrown checks on it every step of the way to make sure it's built right. Mickelson Law Firm is our official real estate closing attorney, our original sponsor since 2017, and the very proud presenting sponsor of our Hilton Head Christian Academy coverage. So I know they're excited tonight at the Mickelson household, and we appreciate their support. So we hope you'll support them when you have legal needs. And Hospice Care of the Lowcountry, our official hospice provider, only not-for-profit hospice in southern Beaufort County, and they do all kinds of great things, providing all kinds of services. They do actually provide services outside the Beaufort County region. So if you're in Jasper, Hampton, Colleton, and you're looking for hospice services or other end-of-life services, call on Hospice Care, where it's not about dying, it's about living. Those are our MVP sponsors. We appreciate their support, and Max has gone incommunicado on us. He's gone dark on us. He went to black.
There we go.
There we go. He's back.
What's wrong with my camera? Sorry.
No worries. I just I was looking at a different screen, and I came back, and you were a
I was
cyborg.
Sorry.
You were a cyborg. It was no good. So yeah, the games that got rained out, I guess, we've gone through tonight's stuff, so we can kind of turn the page and start to look ahead to tomorrow. May River softball at Lugoff Elgin. They're still battling, man, and that's a winnable game. They'll then, if they can win it, have to take down West Florence twice, which will be an uphill climb. But I think this one's winnable, especially the way both pitchers are performing right now. They've been just outstanding defensively, and I think they got a good shot to keep it rolling.
Yeah, I agree with that. They played a really good game the other night, and I think they've found that offense that I think kind of dwindled a little bit through the playoffs. But I think this is the right time to get that offense back on track, find your groove, especially against a really good team in Lugoff Elgin. So I have a lot of confidence in May River tomorrow night to get the job done.
Yeah, they're winning games the way you have to in the playoffs. 3-1, 3-0. The 7-0 was kind of an anomaly. But you get this deep, you're seeing quality pitchers. Nobody's gotten this far without quality pitchers and good defense. So you just got to scrape out runs, and maybe you have somebody who can knock one out of the park. Maybe you don't, but they've found ways, and they've got great speed. They run the bases really well. They're aggressive on the bases, put pressure on the defense, and I think that their style of play has really lent itself to this run, especially because the pitchers are locked in, right? I mean, when the pitchers are throwing it well, they got confidence in their defense. Anything is possible. So, I like their chances tomorrow. It'll be tough. That'll be a good matchup. Lugoff is a quality squad. But they've taken down some good ones along the way. So, Wes, you got to see them the other night, right? You got to see them 2 games in a row.
Yeah, I did, and great atmosphere over there. I mean, that's a fun place to watch softball game. Fans are rowdy. They always get into it, and on top of that, just excellent play from. Starting with Ana Carabao, turning it right over to Olivia Nagel. Those 2 pitchers were tremendous, and they kind of set the tone for that team. But it's always other different players stepping up in big spots for this May River side. So fun team to watch. They're a scrappy group, and I really think they found something late in the year, and especially that big win over Lucy Beckham they got on senior night, which was dominant. And they come back. It's always hard to be a team that you just defeated again, and it's great to see them. It certainly wasn't a bigger margin victory, as big a margin victory as we saw last time, but I think they played a tremendous game and were able to scrap across a few runs early. And that was the difference when you have a dominant pitcher on the mound and Nagel. So this team, it's hard to go out of the lose bracket. It is so challenging, especially when you lose that first game.
It's just no margin for error.
This team,
you got to be almost perfect every night.
This team has been close to that. It's been really fun to see.
I got their stats here, just to take a look. Michaela Landry was named All-State, which I was a little surprised Carballo did not get the nod, because I thought she was certainly that caliber of player, and I understand how those lists are, and we have to make our own, and it's hard sometimes to figure out who goes on and who doesn't. But Landry was terrific. 493 batting average, just the ultimate table setter, 11 RBIs, couple of doubles, 33 runs scored. But Caraballo also 493 batting average, only scored 7 runs because they run for a lot as when she's a pitcher. But she had 28 RBIs, 10 doubles, 3 homers, just a monster year. Landry also with 16 steals, so that definitely is a factor, and she's a really good defender. Although she made a number of errors, but I think she was playing shortstop and third mostly this year. But then the pitching line for Caraballo, 9-1 with a 0.96 ERA.
Wow.
And she doesn't strike out a ton of people. That's the thing. She 50 strikeouts in 80 innings, which is like unheard of for an effective softball pitcher, right? Like not even a strikeout an inning. Like But she's so good at hitting spots and drawing weak contact, and they play good defense behind her. She trusts that defense, and so she doesn't have a lot of wear and tear on the arm because she pitches to contact. But yeah, and Nagel's numbers are really good too. 3.28 ERA. She is a little bit more of a power pitcher, but still not a ton of strikeouts. She's just got to command a little bit better, and we've talked about she's just a freshman, so she's got a lot of time to hone it in. But she throws with some zip on it. She got some on it. She's a good little ball player. So anyway, figured we'd dig a little deeper into that since we have the time tonight. Looking forward to seeing how the Sharks fare tomorrow night at Lugoff Elgin. We also have a baseball game, as we mentioned, at the Farm. Patrick Henry against Calhoun Academy. That series has been weird. Patrick Henry got all over him early in game one, and then Calhoun started scrapping back, and it ended up like 11-7, I think. And then Calhoun got all over him in game two. So backs against the wall. I'm not sure who's due to pitch tomorrow. If anybody's watching from Patrick Henry and they got some inside dirt on who's on the mound tomorrow, love to hear who that is. But it's all hands on deck. Certainly, anybody who's not pitch counted out is up. So short hook and go get a dub. I do have some news on the soccer front. Not news that we have a site yet, but that they are seeking a site for the JP2 Hilton Head Prep game and the BA Holy Trinity game to be played at the same site. Hilton Head Christian Academy is open, just saying.
That's true.
The family.
That is true.
Yeah, but I mean, would you have would be like a home? I guess you could. I mean, I don't know if there's a rule against that. Like,
they have enough seating and stuff like that there.
Well, they wouldn't be involved. Hilton Head Christian wouldn't be involved in it. Hilton Head Prep, JP2, Holy Trinity, BA. Have them all meet up at Hilton Head Christian.
Yeah, they have enough seating for that game.
Who says no?
I mean,
yeah, who says no?
I would do it. Honestly, I would. And I think Christian Academy would be willing to do it too. So I don't think they're going to have a problem with that.
I think so. You'd think so. Just give them a little percentage of the gate or let them run the concessions or whatever. And I mean, it ought to be easy enough to get done, I think. That's what I'm hoping for. That would be ideal. So Wes, Wes and Max, you guys might get to cover a Skis' soccer doubleheader. Maybe we can get Connor Worrell out there with you. Misa can get out there and help out.
Be fun.
I don't know. He's kind of anti-Skisa.
Really?
Javon might be willing to do both.
Javon might be. Javon would definitely be into that. Well, they've been streaming their games at Hilton Head Christian too, so they've got the setup.
Because they have the same setup for their football games too, because they'll stream their football games live as well. But also, I told Javon, I was like, hey, if you're interested for the Skis State Championship game, if it ends up being Hilton Head Christian Prep, if you're interested, we can film those games if you want. And I'm sure they'd be filmed on Skis TV. So, I mean,
TV.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Net.
Oh, God. Anyway.
Well, the only shame if they play the games here is that they won't get the Skiza voice. Skiza voice for the announcements. Skisa, the South Carolina Independent Schools Association.
AZ.net.
That man has announced every Skisa State Championship since.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
The beginning of time.
I love it too. It's fun. It's funny to watch. I enjoy it. Anyway,
so then the other one we got is Patrick Henry boys going up to Kings Academy, which has a poor record. I mean, not that necessarily means anything, but they're like 6-7. So Patrick Henry boys, all they do is win, no matter what. Maybe the boys soccer team will be going on to the state finals as well. We'll see.
Yeah,
be a party on the farm.
It would be a party. It would be fun to watch.
I think it's always a party on the farm, from what I can tell, win or lose.
Yeah,
that's half the fun. It's just whether everybody leaves happy or upset. That's the only question. So on Saturday we will have a Hilton Head Prep versus, I'm just talking out loud as I update the schedule here. John Paul II title game in Skeeza 3A. Holy Trinity versus Buford Academy in Skeeza 2A. We got shut out of the 3A and 2A boys, but we still got Patrick Henry alive in 1A. And then on Saturday, we got lower state track qualifiers as well. So few things on the slate this weekend.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Be good.
Yeah.
It'll be fun. Varsity sponsors of LowcoSports. DDS Web Design builds, hosts, and maintains websites for businesses and nonprofits to get results. So if you need to get found online so you can do more and think bigger, go to ddshhi.com. Parker Law Group serves legal needs across Colleton, Hampton, and Jasper counties, and they help us continue to expand our coverage in those counties. Go out to the farm and shine a light on more deserving teams and student athletes. Reverence Wrestling Club is our official wrestling sponsor and the presenting sponsor of the Lowco Grind. If you want to take your skills on the mat to the next level, Reverence Wrestling Club is a great place to do it. Dr. Ambrose Cole is the official chiropractor of LowcoSports. I get to go see him tomorrow at Rooted Living Wellness, and he's going to make me feel better, mind, body, and spirit. That's Dr. Ambrose Cole. Those are our varsity sponsors. Here's something from Colleton County, speaking of the Parker Law Group, helping us expand our horizons. Colleton County, 3 college signings today, and
Nice.
I will start looking for some media from that while I'm telling you about them. Bailey Cox, we already talked about. She had kind of decided she wasn't going to play softball. She had committed to Mars Hill and then just wasn't feeling it, which happens. And then she decided that maybe she wanted to play volleyball. So she is going to play volleyball at USC Salkehatchie and see how that goes, which I think is amazing. And then 2 kids going to Columbia International. We've got Brian Hamilton for basketball and Cameron Farnsworth for baseball, which again, I believe had mentioned previously when he committed. But there you go, Bailey going to go play at Salk. There's the setup, nice setup. Wayne Alston, the AD, doing the honors. Not sure. We got coaches. We got not sure who else speaking. But
Thanks for the content.
there's
really appreciative.
Well, that's from Jennifer Cox.
Yeah, because it's hard
from her
for us
Facebook.
to make it everywhere. So
Yeah, well, I'm just stealing this from her Facebook, which I know she won't mind. But there they are. I mean, it is nice to be able to just have something to share and commemorate it, because I wasn't even aware that they were signing today, unfortunately. Not that I would have had time today to be able to get up there, but definitely want to show them some love, because as we've mentioned many times, it is really the amount of work that goes into getting that opportunity, not just from the kids, but from the parents and all the people who help them along the way. It's something to be celebrated that they get the chance. So wishing them the best of luck. Really excited that Brian Hamilton gets to play at the next level, because I love to watch that kid play. He's a little undersized. You knew he probably wasn't going to get the looks from bigger schools, but he's one of the kids that you say, like, if you want to keep playing, there's a place you can. If that's the one thing on the top of the list for you, there's a place for you. And I'm glad he found his. So shout out to those kids. You boys bring anything to share and tell? Got anything you want to talk about?
Oh, what did I see? Hold on.
I'm pumped. It's not really a news item, but I'm just pumped to see spring football start up in these next few weeks, because once these spring sports end, we're gonna get pretty busy with spring games and just football activities, and I'm pumped to see how these teams look as they get ready into the 7-on-7s and summer ball, because it's fascinating to kind of see, because I think a lot of development happens this time of year that you don't see that really make a difference once you get into the fall. So you just talk about the workouts and the team bonding and the team chemistry.
Yeah.
You see a lot of that develop around this time of year. So
true. Yeah.
I'm excited to see.
On that note, we did kind of mention it before, but I know it's officially out there that the new football coach at Hardyville High School will be CJ Frazier. So that's pretty cool. I'm excited for CJ. Obviously, that's well, I guess not obviously. Not everybody who listens to us and watches is native to the area or who has been around a long time. But CJ was a legend at Bluffton High School, to put it mildly. There he is. There he is. CJ Deontay Scott with this post, a Hilton Head Prep legend in his own right. But Frazier was the quarterback at Bluffton during their glory days when Ken Cribb came in and built the program up and they made a run. I covered him his junior year against Myrtle Beach in Myrtle Beach in the lower state finals when Everett Golson came down here and ran wild on them. That was kind of a wake-up call. But then they got to the state championship with CJ the next year when I was at USCB. And then, he went on, I forget where he went and played, but I'm drawing a blank on that right now. But then, came back home, caught on at Ridgeland Hardyville, was the offensive coordinator under Rodney Barr last year. And now he gets a chance to be the head guy at Hardyville, where, they had a really solid JV squad last year. They got a few guys that they're really excited about. And in Class 1A, man, if you got a few guys along the line and you got some skill position players, you got a shot. So it's going to be fun to see what that program looks like.
I know where Frazier went. He went to Newberry, I think.
That's what I was thinking, but I get Newberry and North Greenville mixed up in my head all the time because they're both in schools and they're vaguely in the same area. So I thought it was Newberry, though. Speaking of Newberry, I saw they'd been at Romer, had been in the transfer portal, and from Newberry, and he landed at North Greenville, where they contend for D2 titles every year. So that's an interesting development. Saw that. So forward to seeing what transpires for Bennett. He's coming off surgery, looking to get back out there, but should be throwing harder than ever when he comes back. That's usually how it goes if the surgery goes well. So that'll be exciting to see. I know Darren Horn, he's going to the Cape again, right? Mo said. So we'll be keeping tabs on him over the summer.
Yeah, had that big summer last year, looking to build on that.
Hopefully get Carmen Majensky back in the big so we can keep tabs on him over the summer. And we'll have, the local Rec All-Stars baseball and softball firing up soon. So we'll show those kids some love and community rallies around that. So that'll be fun. So lots of stuff coming up, but still some playoff stuff to deal with Friday and Saturday. So we'll come back around.
It'll be a fun weekend. I'm trying to do shows both those nights tomorrow night, which might just be myself. Although
I might be absent for that one tomorrow night.
Which is fine. Oh, we got this.
Or we may do it later if you boys are coming in hot from the farm.
It's Friday night, so I have to.
That's true.
If we have to.
I'll be live from some hotel in Charleston. I don't know, Mount Pleasant. Whatever hotel my wife tells me to go to.
And I'll be live from somewhere in Ridgeland or something. I don't know.
You guys can be out
trying to drive home.
No, you guys can we can push it till you get settled if we need to, and then maybe we can get Coach Brown or Big Cat or somebody in here and talk about it as well. Stricklander, get the whole crew from the farm in here. They might, if they win, they'll still be drinking victory beers by the time you guys get home. So it won't be a problem. They'll still be at the field. Victory sodas. Sorry.
Victory sodas. Yeah. Stay responsible.
Yeah, that's right. Victory Cokes.
Sodas.
Having Victory Cokes at the field. Went through a couple cases of Coke. I bet my buddy Gerald Freeman will be out there with the Right Field Mafia tomorrow night. You guys will be doing yourself a disservice if you don't wander out and visit with the Right Field Mafia.
Oh, yeah.
You definitely want to check them out.
Actually, all right. So I have a share and tell. So me and Wes were both at the prep game yesterday against PD Academy. they have a bit of a mafia. PD has a bit of a mafia themselves.
They do. They had a crazy.
And they had a train. They had a train horn and everything. Like, I mean, every time someone scored or strike out, yeah.
I heard it on Wes's video clips of the last
I went out there. I went out there and talked to the
egregious.
guys. Yeah. I was like, I went out there and talked to the guys. I was like, do y'all do this for every game? They're like, yeah, we do it for every game. I was like, that's awesome. I think that's really cool. And by the way, PD brought out a lot of fans that came all the way down from Mullins. They had a huge crowd last night.
I went to a football game there. They are a fierce culture. Here we go. I'll do it with sound so we can hear the train horn.
Yeah, there you go.
Final score.
That's a road game, y'all. This PDP.
Yeah, they travel well.
I think they may have had more. I mean, they had a ton of people show up for this game. I was really surprised that a lot of these people made the trip down to the south end of Hilton Head from Mullins. So, I mean,
yeah, man,
they showed out, dude. I mean, no joke. They showed out. And
I believe it. It was an intense environment for their home football games.
It really was
an intense environment for their home football games. It was also senior night. It also reminded me of home. It was very country. It was very country there. Again, I'm very country. I'm from the country, so I don't mean that derisively. It's just a descriptor. That's all.
Yeah.
But hey, the Lowco Booster Club supports us, so please support them. You got the Court Lifestyle Pros. Daniel and Debbie Court are Lowco natives who want to bring you home to Hilton Head Island. They're with Charter One Realty. Revive Rehab Women's Health and Pelvic Floor Physical Therapies, where you can find Dr. Allie and Dr. Jen. They love to talk to new moms. Eagle Creations has promotional items and custom apparel and all kinds of other cool stuff. Go check out their showroom on Argent Boulevard to see what they can do for you at Eagle Creations. And Jay's Barbershop, it's the place to be in downtown Ridgeland, whether you need a haircut or not. You can go for a great conversation and come out with a great style at Jay's Barbershop. And Barefoot Floor Care of the Lowcountry. They'll get your floors so clean, your feet will thank you, and you will thank us for telling you about Chris Odom and his team. That's the Lowco Booster Club. Shout outs. Wes, who you shouting out tonight, bud?
Caladondo was electric. Got to give her a shout out for what she did. Just not just scoring, but being a total offensive superstar out there to power Hilton Head Prep. But I got to give it to that entire group for how they played. Ashley Brothers, just a freshman somehow. I don't know. I mean, she's plays
I just saw that too. Like, what?
But Hilton Head Prep, they look loaded. The difference in that game is whether or not JP2's defensive back line can find a way to limit those opportunities and just shut down the speed of Prep and the great playmaking abilities. And then Trinity Grace Maxwell probably going to have to make a couple of big saves throughout that match to keep it close and see if JP2 can find a way to strike in the counter. It's possible. I think Hilton Head Prep is heavy. They're heavy favorites coming in. I would set the line pretty high as being heavy favorites in that matchup. But like I said, there is a way that JP2 can find a way to hang around and stay in this match. But they're going to have to have a lot go right and going to have their defense play a heck of a game, because this Hilton Head Prep team, if you make one mistake, they are just a lethal scoring team. Just so many options they can turn to score goals. And it's a tough team to hold down. It really is. So
yeah,
I expect it to be. And there's also, we all talk all the time. I mean, how hard is it to beat a team multiple times, 3 times a year, where, it wasn't a blowout per se. I mean, JP2 was able to find ways to stay in this last game, although it was still a multi-goal win for Hilton Head Prep Dolphins. So they're going to have to play a pretty flawless game if they want to steal it away from Hilton Head Prep. But give credit to JP2 because they're a quality team. Just Hilton Head Prep's on another year, another level, just a really solid, complete squad and skis at 3A. I expect them to get it done, but it could be it's be a great game, and hopefully we'll have that opportunity to see it unfold right here in Lowco, which is how it should be done. And precedent has been set.
Yeah, I think they'll get it done. I mean, just the fact that they're already seeking a site to double up those two tells me that it's going to get done. Yeah.
The other thing is, like, we've talked about how young of a team JP2 is as well. I mean, they're
yeah, but I mean, do you know how young Hilton Prep is? They had 6 players score goals tonight: freshman, junior, eighth, sophomore, junior. And they also had a sophomore and an 8th grader with assists.
That's so scary. The other thing is, these two teams are going to go and battle it out for the next few years. I mean, it's going to be those two teams, and eventually I think Hilton Head Christian will get into that mix as well.
Hopefully, they'll get back in the mix.
If they can develop over the next couple of seasons, it's going to be a 3-way race for the region eventually, and it's going to be an all-out battles between these three. Well, actually, no, it'll be different now because Prep will remain in 3A, and then JP2 and Hilton Head Christian will be in 4A. Yeah, I didn't think about that.
Prep will run 3A in girls soccer.
Oh yeah, they will run 3A with ease.
I mean, they already do, but they
but it'll be a bit easier with JP2 out of the way, I guess. But I mean, it's great to see again two Lowco teams going out, hashing it out for a state championship, man. It's always some of the best stuff we get to watch is these two teams who know each other well enough to know what their weaknesses are and try to exploit each other's weaknesses.
I think JP2 is coming to win, and when I say that, I mean like their game plan is going to be designed to try to find the one magic bullet where they beat Hilton Head Prep. And like they're going to play this game entirely differently than they played the first two because it's a different kind of game. Like it matters a lot more. So you don't care what it looks like. If it's ugly, it's ugly. You don't need to develop anymore. You just need to win at this point. And so, I expect they'll play kind of an ugly brand and pack it in and try not to give anything away and try to break a counter. But I could be wrong. I'm not a soccer expert by any stretch of the imagination, but when you're overmatched, that's usually kind of, or when you look like you're overmatched on paper, at least, that's usually kind of the strategy, right? Is take the air out of it. Don't give them any space and hope that you can pop one. And worst case, you get into penalties and then it's anybody's game.
Yeah, I think it's late. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if JP2 has that mindset. Find a way to push it, pack it in, and push it to penalties if you're able to. So
I
mean, it's a one-off. You never know. I mean, it's especially in a situation where you are kind of the underdogs in this role. Hilton Head Prep, they've done it before. They're expecting
playing with house money.
Yeah, that's what you want. That's what you want this time. And if you start to make them a little nervous, you get that first goal, or you keep it 0-0 to like the 60th minute. They're sweating. They're sweating. You got a chance.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing when you're the underdog. It's always the longer you stay in it, the more the pressure shifts to the favorite, and so you just want to, segment the game up, and in soccer it's really just half to half, but get through the first 5 minutes, and then get through the next 5 minutes, and just keep putting the pressure, on them because a lot of times the favorite will get flustered if they're not having success, and especially if you're playing a junk brand and it's just frustrating. It's like, they're not even playing with us right now. This isn't fair. And you start to get frustrated, and then you make a mistake, you try to force something, and boom, counter. And so there's always a path when the teams are at least competitive with one another. So should be fun. Same with the other one, Holy Trinity and BA. Holy Trinity's gotten them twice this season, but BA closed the gap in the second one, and they're going to have a game plan designed to try to beat that one specific team. That's where it goes from You don't necessarily just do what you do
local
at that
team.
point.
There's another level to that when it's like a local area team,
Like a team, the kid, the
Right.
kids know each other and all that stuff.
Yeah, rivalry
Yeah.
game. You see that all the time in sports where
Yeah.
you have that matchup in postseason setting where you're going up against a rival team, and you never know what could happen in a situation like that. So
I just realized we were still on Wes's shout out.
We
got on it. We've been tangenting tonight. So Max, do you have a shout out?
Yeah.
Is that a question to ask tonight? Seriously, it's got to be Hill Nick Christian, man. I can't say no to that. Dude. I was looking over the years. This is our first state championship appearance since 2010. We've waited 14 years. 14
I covered
years.
That one. Was that the one where they won?
Yeah, they won the state championship back in 2010 in Skis.
It was at Salkahatchee.
Which was unusual at the time because we weren't playing many 3A sports. We were playing mainly 2A sports, and they won the 3A.
Did they play for that? Colleton?
I don't remember.
I remember the day vividly. I about murdered Weston Butler because I had a brand new tape recorder that was pretty expensive, and he dumped water on me, and man, I was mad. I also had to drive back from Allendale wet. That was not fun. I was not planning on getting wet. But we all had a good laugh after. But in the moment, I was like, "You little." But that was a great day. That was a fun day. I sat on the top of the dugout at Salkahatchee and watched that game, and it was a terrific game. I think we were doing this thing back then that I had stumbled onto. It was like the original, it was before Twitter, but you would live blog the game. And
like on a different website.
I forget what the platform was called. Yeah, but I did USCB games with it too.
That's cool.
And you could embed it. And it was really cool. And so you could live blog the game, and people could interact with it in real time.
Yeah.
And people loved it, and a ton of people were checking in from all over the place.
Yeah. I mean, there's always online blog sites in the past before Twitter became a thing.
I wish I could remember what that service was called. It was really cool.
Yeah, no, there certainly were sites like that.
Yeah. So I mean, we've waited 14 years. As a program, waited 14 years to get back to this stage, and we're finally back. And I couldn't be more prouder of this team. I've gotten to watch them all season long. I got to watch them last season. I've been watching them ever since I left. Hilton Head Christian Academy, ever since I graduated, because I knew one day we'd be back at this stage. We'd be back here. And when JW took over the program, I was like, okay, we got a coach who knows what he's doing, and he put together a really, really impressive coaching staff. And they just started getting to work. And over the years, they've gotten better and better. And here they are, finally, at that final level. And like we said, this is Wilkerson's last season as head coach, and you would hope that they can finish the job. The job's not done yet, so it's beginning.
I mean, especially to see him take them all the way and win it. I'll tell you, whoever they go up against, I kind of who do you? So as a Hilton Christian, who do you want? Who do you want in the finals?
Yeah, do you want prep or do you want PD?
I think we want prep. I want prep. I want a logo on Lowco.
The devil you know.
Yeah, I like it. That's what
I mean. It definitely amps up the pressure factor a little bit. I mean, it's crazy to say that because it's state championship series, but it really does. If it's kids and your rival, it adds a little element to it that cranks it up even another notch. So, and obviously it would be ideal for us because then one of the games won't be in Mullins and one of the games won't be halfway between here and Mullins. They'll all be right here. So yes, that would be my preference. And Chris Wells, man, dude's got a pretty good legacy coaching baseball in the Lowco. Would be really cool to see him get back there. after some near misses the last few years with what you would have probably thought were better teams on paper. This is a pretty cool story for this bunch that, you know, everybody thought he was leaving after last year, and he came back because this group wanted him to, and he couldn't say no to them. And so for them to get back there would be really awesome. Hope they can get it done tomorrow night. I really do. I'll be right there close by, but won't be able to go to the game. So that's a bummer. You know, I'll go a little more individualized with the shout outs. Since you went Caledondo, I'll go deeper on Help Net Prep. Ashley Brothers, 2 goals, 2 assists. Layla Esquivel, a goal and 2 assists. Yeah. Courtney Campbell, I think I've heard of her, a goal and 2 assists. 8th grader Zoe Hayes with a goal and an assist. Yeah, so, you know, Kala is definitely the star, and she's going to go play at Furman after still another year, unbelievably, unless she's enrolling early. She may be enrolling early, I'm not sure. But you know, she's phenomenal, but man, they've got all the pieces around her. They've got a phenomenal program that they've built up. Risa McMillan has done a heck of a job over there. She's won a whole lot of games and quite a few state championships, and they may get another one on Saturday, but we'll see. So that should do it for tonight, boys. Great show. Enjoyed it. No guests, but you know, we managed to fill up an hour nonetheless. We got through it. Good times.
I'm excited tomorrow. I am excited for this weekend.
Yeah, this weekend is going to be really good. I'll be busy coaching baseball up in Charleston, but I know you boys will hold it down. We'll kick in a little gas for the trip to the farm, and then we should be getting a Lowco on Lowco doubleheader soccer title tilt somewhere. We'll let you know where. You boys will probably we may all be together tomorrow night. Just keep an eye on the feeds wherever you usually find us. We will be live at some point tomorrow night. Maybe an abbreviated show so we can get to bed and get ready for Saturday. But tomorrow night, we'll be back. LowcoSports Lowdown. That does it for tonight. For Wes Kerr and Max Arraj, I'm Justin Jarrett. Till next time, go Lowco.
The LowcoSports Lowdown podcast is a production of Lowco Media LLC and LowcoSports.com, an independent media outlet providing grassroots local sports coverage in the South Carolina Lowcountry. We are sustained by community support from sponsors and patrons like you. Get in the game with a monthly pledge of $1 or more at patreon.com/LowcoSports to keep us going and growing. Go Lowco.